Welcome to Discovering. Grouse hunting is a popular sport here in the UP, taking part mostly in the fall. But if you're looking for something to cure those winter stuck-at-home blues, a December hunt might be just the ticket. Tonight we'll take a look at grouse hunting in the snow.
Here goes. Got it.
And I checked out the Escanaba Rollin Hellcats all-female roller derby mixer, where part of the proceeds were being donated to the Wheelin' Sportsman. That's all tonight, so sit back and put your feet up. It's Monday night and time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
If you're a bird hunter and watch the show enough, you know Dennis Stakowitz of Aspen Thicket Grouse Dogs. We've covered training dogs for hunting, we've talked preseason tactics, and of course, we've hunted. So when I was kicking around the idea of a late season grouse hunting episode, Dennis was the guy to call. And as expected, he was more than happy to take me out one last time for the year and show me what hunting grouse in December was all about.
When we do late season grouse hunting, we use the same equipment for the dogs that we use in regular season. We're going to be hunting with Panzer in Georgia today. Say he's a little excited. Panzer is going to be 5 this spring. He's my number 1 male behind old Gunner, who's 12 and semi-retired now. He's officially our stud dog for our kennel now. He passed all of his health clearances with flying colors. Scott Bud, he's a fairly decent hunting dog, so hopefully he won't let us down today. It's late season. Dogs have been cooped up for deer season, pretty much been in the kennel for their safety. So they tend to like Saturdays in December so they can get out and burn some energy. I hunt with a 20 gauge, same as what I would normally. I hunt with a 28 or a 20 during the regular season. But I do tighten up the chokes a little bit late season. I believe I'm shooting skeet and modified in the second barrel. Typically what will happen is these conditions out here, even though there's snow on the ground, it's really dry in the wintertime. I know a lot of people run humidifiers in your house. Well, it's no different out here. It's dry, and when you don't have a lot of humidity, there's not a lot of scent for the dogs. So typically when they do get on birds, if they point, they're right on top of them, or the birds will scoot out a little bit ahead of them, so you have longer shots than you would have earlier in the season. So you want to tighten up your pattern a little bit. I don't use any different shotgun shell than what I would normally use in the regular season. I shoot 7.5s all year long. I found that's a pretty good load. What we'll be doing is basically we'll walk along the edge of the river. There's pretty much a pine or a spruce complex along the edge of the river here. A lot of birds like to roost in that, and then they've got the popples adjacent to it that they can go out and feed on. So we'll send the dog down in, see if he can't point, or more likely this time of year run across and flush some grouse out of those spruce. This is a well-bred, experienced dog, and he's about that point where he's getting close to his peak, and he's going out. We got the wind at our backs. He's running lines down, getting out about 100 yards or so, and then he's working his way back to us, so he's got the wind in his face. And that's something that he learned from exposure to hunting conditions. Bird! That one's still flying for next year. Up in the tree. These berry bushes, this particular area of public land, the DNR had planted these several years ago. I mean, the birds really stick to these. For whatever reason this year, their berries are clinging on there. You can see them. And the birds tend to sit tight to this. We won't be hunting normal, what you would consider grouse cover. A lot of times you hit the younger aspen or the popple. But once the snow hits the ground and it gets colder, you really want to focus on your heavy spruce areas, your swamp edges that are adjacent to this type of food, because they spend a lot of time roosting in the spruce trees to get out of the cold, and then they go out and feed at times of the day, and then they go back into the roost. I'd be willing to bet that without a lot of deep snow, most of the birds we will find today will either be in these on the actual limbs feeding or in the spruce trees roosting. Here's some grouse tracks. Looks to be like from earlier. Probably, well, we haven't got a snow, but we had a little bit of warming. So these look like they're with the dust around. They were probably from this morning. Looks like the bird was working over this way into that, probably went and fed in those berries, and now he'll be out here somewhere, maybe in a spruce tree. We can find him and flush him up. Yeah, you can see a lot of tracks in here when you get in this thick spruce in the middle of this aspen area. They really, really like this spruce. It gives them good thermal cover. That was what we call an unproductive point. He had the scent of a bird that was pretty close at one time. And you can see by the tracks, that bird is probably really, really close. I would expect that we're going to put it up if we can stay on top of it. It looks like it's moving in this general direction here. It might have held up over here and flushed out before we got here, but I think he probably would have went with it. He's trying to do now is figure out which way that bird went. He's trying to use the wind first. He had the scent right there. He pointed it, thinking there was a bird there. When I got in front of him and nothing flushed, I released him. Now he's trying to figure it out. I think the tracks went this way. The bird could have flushed from right here before we got up here, but again, we'll let the dog try and figure it out for us. Tough hunting this time of year. Typically this time of year, what you find out is they group back up into, I guess the proper term is coveys, but they group back up into family groups. It's not uncommon if you find one this time of year, you'll find 3 or 4 together, and that's what makes it a challenge in late season. When they're spread out in October, you can average a flush or 2.5 flushes in an hour. You come out in December, you might have that average, but you're going to work 2 hours to find one bird, and when you find that one bird, there'll be a bunch together with it normally. So one of the differences in the wintertime is you'd notice that we've been looking at some tracks on the ground, and you can see where grouse roost at and drop down and walk around and what they're feeding. I tend to like to use that to find out areas to hunt and target, but in particular I don't want having pointing dogs. There's 2 types of scents that pointing dogs work: cold scent and hot scent. Hot scent is what we call the scent of the bird itself, and cold scent is the tracking scent for the bird. And that cold scent, if a dog is spending his time on that cold scent, a pointing dog, that's going to bring their head down and they're going to have their head on the ground, and they're not going to pick up that hot scent when the bird's in front of them, and they tend to flush the bird. So in the wintertime, I use the tracks more for myself to kind of figure out where birds are at, and I don't like my dogs to potter around on that cold scent because, like I said, that brings their head down. They like to keep their heads up. I think we talked about it earlier. When they have their heads up, they can catch that hot scent of the bird and are less likely to actually flush the bird and hold it and allow you to come in and flush it. Oh, look at that point. That is a beautiful, beautiful point. That bird moved on him. Nope, that one's gone. Well, sometimes the dogs they point birds in trees or whatever. That's not really genetics or anything. I mean, it's good that they have a good nose and they stop to point and stuff, but it's usually a early experience for a dog they could be out in the woods and a bird could flush from a tree, and they'll see a bird flush from a tree and they'll start making that association. And if that happens at a particular time in an imprinting period when they're young, you could have a dog that runs around and points birds when they're up in trees every now and then. So no magic involved. It's just a kind of stroke of luck depending on when it first happens with them, at what age they are. Here it goes. Got it. Fetch it up, Pans. Come on. Fetch it up. Let's go, buddy. Come on. Come on. Fetch it up. Find a bird, bud. Fetch it up. Okay, here. 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 Bring it here. Here, buddy. Here. Come on. Fetch it up. Bring it here. Hey, here. Give. Good job, buddy. I love these birds. Just a beautiful, beautiful bird. Gray phase. The dog had pointed it on one of those awareness points. The bird was actually up in the tree. The dog pointed, I don't know, I'd say pointed about 5-6 seconds there. I took a step towards him. The dog took a step and the bird flushed out of the tree. And we were lucky to bag it. These birds are just beautiful. Late season bird. You can see how the feathers starts to cover their feet, and eventually you can see it starts growing here. As it gets later in the winter, their feet will get a lot of hair on it, and that helps them walk on the snow. It's almost like snowshoes for the animals, but oh, this is just a beautiful bird. Good job, Panzer. Great. Nice gray face. I love this stuff. Just beautiful. Good job, buddy. Hey, is that yours? Huh? Yeah, good job, bud. Now we're going to hunt Georgia, who is, I still call her my puppy. This is only her second hunting season, so this, of course, is only her second time out in late season. And she has quite a bit less experience than the other dogs, so it'd be interesting to see how her learning curve goes today out in the woods. She's done pretty good through the first couple of seasons for a young dog, but this late season is a lot harder, and it's, like I said, it's different with the scent conditions, so hopefully she can maybe point a bird or two for us. We'll see. Let's go, Georgia! These young dogs, I spend a little bit more time watching this with them. Like I said, it's all about that learning process. You need to go out and figure out these wild birds on their own. Find them birds? Huh? Not to the point that they're disobedient and whatnot. I mean, she comes back in and checks in and things like that, but it's all about exposure and patience. I'm right here. Yeah, looking for me? There it goes. It was in here. And flushed from right here. Oh. I'll get back so you get the dog work. Watch her work this. We're gonna be here a while because if she smells a bird, she don't give up on them, which is a very, very good quality you like to see in a dog. If they think there's a bird around, you want them to be real thorough. Not pottering per se, but you want them to, not give up. Keep looking for that bird, even if they flush it. That's experience that obviously they get rather than just running off, Part of why I like late season for young dogs is just that. It's not easy. It's not woodcock that sit for a point all day long, and flight birds down and you run into one every minute. So dogs have to learn how to hunt. That's particularly why I like these seasons where the bird numbers are down a little bit, because dogs have to actually go out and earn it, and it makes for better dogs later on. Come on, girl. I'm sure there's more. You don't want to go back? Well, everybody, we got to go back.
Tonight's show is dedicated to Curtis Grunden, a friend to many who passed away recently. We will miss him dearly. Curtis lived for his family and friends, and he loved to hunt and fish. He could talk to turkeys like no one I've ever met. I tagged along with Curtis and his faithful dog Jackson on many a turkey hunt, and I am absolutely honored to have had the privilege of sitting under a tree with him. I say this as a tribute to Curtis, but also as a plea to sportsmen and women anywhere. If the woods or the water is calling you, listen. Go on that trip of a lifetime, or simply spend the afternoon fishing from a dock. Don't put it off till next week or next year. If the outdoors is calling, go and enjoy it every chance you get, just as Curtis did. For those of us who knew Curtis, it's very hard to say goodbye. But we can take some comfort in the fact that we say goodbye only once. We can say hello every time we visit the woods. If you've been following Discovering for any length of time, you're certainly familiar with the Wheeling Sportsmen and have seen all they do for our hunters with disabilities. This year alone, they made it possible for countless disabled hunters to hit the woods and enjoy hunting as the rest of us are able to do. This is made possible not only by the tremendous efforts of those directly involved, but also by the contributions of various other organizations and groups.
Welcome to the Rollin Hellcats Hot Pants and Face Plant.
I checked out the Rollin Hellcats all-female roller derby mixer, where part of the proceeds were being donated to the Wheeling Sportsmen.
Well, tonight we've got the roller derby girls there, the Hellcats, are doing a little fundraiser here for the Wheeling Sportsmen, which is really great. One of the gals that's has a lot to do with this program here. Her uncle used to be part of the Wheeling Sportsman program, Mickey Solomon, and he helped us develop some of this equipment and that. So there's a lot of good relationships going on here, and of course we're trying to pass the word too so we can get more people with disabilities back out in the field. So it's another win-win situation, and this is the first time we've been in a roller derby thing there. Last time we were down at Cats there and stuff, but this is really cool. It's nice that the girls are helping us out here and building some more relationships and having more fun.
How roller derby works is it's a full contact women's sport. So that's what you're going to see here today. And the point of it is you've got 2 jammers on the track, 1 for each team. And then you've got 5 blockers total, and their job is to stop those jammers from getting points. And the jammer's job is to get through as many times as possible through the pack and score points, 1 point for each opposing person that she passes. So lots of hard hits, lots of falls, you probably see some penalties, and all of that is roller derby. On the track during each jam, which is a 2-minute time frame that the action's really going on, you have 2 jammers, 1 for each team, and then you've got what's called a pivot for each team. She's going to be the girl with the stripe on her helmet. She's kind of the one calling the plays, the one leading the pack, trying to control play and the speed and keep everybody organized. And then you've got your blockers as well, and there's going to be 3 blockers. And that's pretty much is what makes up, during the play, that's what makes up the people on the track. Roller derby in the UP is pretty new. We've got a total of 4 teams. We've got the first original team was the Kingsford Crush, and then our team was the second, started the Rollin Hellcats. Off of us started the Marquette team, which is Dead River Derby, and then now there's also a group up in Keweenaw. The Keweenaw Roller Girls, I'm sorry if I messed up their name. But so we've got 4 teams so far here in the Upper Peninsula. for the Escanaba Rollin Hellcats, we're just finishing off our second year. So actually this is kind of our anniversary of our second season is coming to completion today. We've got kind of a mixed bag. We've got some, every profession you can imagine here in the Upper Peninsula as far as what we do on our day jobs. And this is what we do at night as fun. Even myself, I kind of am in a whole different realm for public relations and marketing as my day job. So at night, I get to kind of come home and let off all the steam and kind of push people around for a living because I don't get to do that at work. So for our end of the season bout mixer that we've got going on here tonight, we teamed up with the Wheelin' Sportsmen, amazing group of people. I've gotten to know them a little bit because my uncle Mick Salmon was one of the original guys that started, got the Wheelin' Sportsmen going here in the UP. And he passed away a few years ago, and when I met Ken, actually, we were behind them at the 4th of July fair or parade here in Escanaba, and Mick's picture was on the trailer in front of us skating, and I was like, okay, this has got to be a sign. We got to do something to help these guys out. So I told Ken that night, we're going to do something with you guys. Let me know what works, and it came to be tonight. So a portion of our proceeds of the door and then our raffles and 50/50s are going to actually go back to help out the Wheelin' Sportsmen, see if we can help them get some new equipment and some new gear and really give back to those people that they're helping out with. If someone's watching this today and they decided, this looks like a lot of fun, I'd like to start a team or join a team, I would say find the team that's closest to you, either here out of Escanaba, Kingsford, Iron Mountain area, Houghton, Keweenaw area, or the Marquette area. Go visit that team. Check it out, see what they're doing, and start learning from them. And then if you feel like you have enough people to start a team, by all means, check out how to start a roller derby team online. Roller derby is a very tight-knit community, whether it's here in Escanaba or in Helsinki, Finland. There are roller derby teams everywhere, and we all work together because this is a very special and a very unique sport, and we all need each other to survive. So there are hundreds of websites that you can get information from. So.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.